Hello everyone, this video will cover modules 12 and 13, which will finish up the cause and effect essay. In module 12, you're going to do a self-edit of the rough draft that you turned in already, and then in module 13, you will finish up your final draft. So we're stretching out this essay just a little bit longer than the process essay, giving you more time to give your essay a good edit and go over everything, read through it carefully, make sure that you proofread everything carefully and that kind of thing. So let me just talk you through the assignments, in particular the self-edit, because we're using the Canvas editing tools. And so hopefully the directions I have, I think, explained everything pretty thoroughly, but I do want to show it to you for those of you who are visual learners. So this module is pretty simple. We just have the self-edit and then our last quiz, our last grammar quiz, which covers other forms of punctuation besides commas. So we're at the end of that section of your textbook, which is about grammar. The next quiz that you have will be a review, and that won't be until the last module. So the readings for this one are that chapter 5, which I think we have read already, but those first three basics are just looking over your essay, and then there's also a checklist in there which you're going to use for your self-edit. I also found this really helpful video for you about self-editing. So this is a self-edit assignment. So the first thing you're going to do is take that rough draft that you submitted in the previous module, and you're just going to submit it again. So you're just going to upload the same exact file. You can, if you want to, make changes to it or add to it or whatever, but that's not necessary. You can just submit the same exact file here, and that will give you plenty of time to do this assignment. So once the file has been submitted, then you're going to access the file through Canvas. So you're going to if you click on the title of the assignment, you'll see submission details and you'll be able to access the assignment. So I'm going to show you in my practice class over here what that's going to look like. Maybe. I'm not going to show you that. So let me pause the video real fast. Okay, now I have it set up for you. You don't have an assignments tab. You'll access it in the modules tab, but you'll click on the title of the assignment again. So you just go right back into the assignment. You can also access it from the grades list as well. And then you'll have submission details, and you'll see the file that you submitted along with where it says view feedback. So you're going to click on the submission details and then view feedback. And it'll bring up this doc viewer screen, and it's pretty small here in the middle, but you can expand it like this and it will give you the full screen. So once you have it at the full screen, you have access to all of these revision tools up here. And so if you go in, you can leave yourself an annotation comment. And you can also there's a highlighter that you can highlight a section and then leave yourself a comment. And you can also do a strike through, and there's you can box things, and this is to help you draw on there. If you want to draw on it, is fine. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. When you're done, all you have to do is exit out. Oops, click escape. It exits out, and it will leave all of those comments on there. And so you will have those available. I will be able to then see that you have left comments on your own essay. So just as a reminder, you're in the rough draft assignment, and you've clicked start assignment, you've submitted that rough draft, and then then you go back into it, you see submission details and then view feedback, and then you'll be able to use those annotation tools. Once you're done with that, you have a comment box over here, and you're going to leave yourself a comment by going through. There are 7 questions on your, seven question checklists on page 78 in the textbook for revising your writing, and I want you to leave yourself a comment for each one. And then you can save it. You can do multiple boxes if you want to, but you can put them all in the same comment box if you want. And so you have 7, just go ahead and number them, and you'll write a sentence, at least one sentence for each of those questions. The questions are sort of like yes, no questions. So, but I just want you to answer out in a complete sentence. So if it's, the question is, do you have a thesis? Then you say, yes, I have an adequate thesis, or something like that. So you're leaving yourself 10 annotation comments using these tools. So each one of these boxes counts as an annotation comment, and then you're leaving yourself a sentence feedback for each of the 7 feedback or 7 checklist questions on that page. So it's a little bit more complicated of an assignment, but once you get in there and you do it, then it won't take you hardly any time to give yourself feedback. Once you've done that, that's all you have to do in this module. In the next module, you're submitting the final draft of the essay. So you actually have, if you do this self-edit toward the beginning of this module, then you actually almost have 2 weeks to finish your final draft. So it gives you a little bit more time. We've stretched it out a little bit to take some of that pressure off of you. And of course, it's going to tell me I can't access anything. It doesn't like me being logged in more than once. So the last thing that you're going to do in this module is the grammar review of more than two different kinds of punctuation. I think we go apostrophes, which is very commonly misused, and then other punctuation, semicolons, colons, that kind of thing. So that's a fairly short chapter, and then you'll take the quiz just like you've done before, and that'll be, like I said, our last major or new grammar quiz. Then in module 13, it's really simple because you only have the overview, and then you have a reminder of what the assignment is, and then you have the assignment submission spot. So at this point, this is where you're going to actually submit the final draft of your essay. You look back at the rough draft and make sure that you have made the corrections suggested by your instructor. You will look back at your self-edit and make sure that you have made the corrections suggested to you by yourself, and then anything else that you see, of course, make sure that you proofread everything. In that video talks about some really effective ways of proofreading your own essay, things like printing it out, reading it out loud, changing the font style, and then printing it out so it looks different, so you're more likely to catch errors, things like that. That temporarily changing the font style can help you. It makes it look different because you get very close to your own writing. So there's lots of good tips for you there. And then once you're done and you're positive that you have the best draft possible, you'll submit it here. Grading rubric down here is what I'll use to grade it. So make sure again that you feel like your essay kind of falls in this proficient to excellent category for each item, and then you should be assured of having a pretty good grade when it's graded. So those are those 2 modules that, like I said, that wraps up our cause and effect essay, and that is the last major essay and the last major writing assignment that we will complete. After this point, we're going to do revision and then the final, and so this is kind of the culminating writing assignment of the class. And so after this point, it gets a little bit easier, and you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief because we're on the downhill slide toward the end of the semester. So hopefully you're doing well. If you have questions, particularly about leaving comments for yourself with the editing and the feedback tool, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you're doing well, and I will see you later.